Chat, Mardu, Honor Guard, Unsealing. So Honor Guard, Strict Proctor, and Hushbringer all make it so creatures that have enter plays triggers don't happen. And these are really powerful hate cards against one of the best decks in the format, that Squirrel combo deck that depends on creatures entering play. But these cards are also enablers for some powerful things that we're doing. So we've got Acererak, which just comes into play as a 5/5 for 3 mana. We've got Kroxa, which is just a 2 mana 6/6. We've got Clackbridge, which is an 8/8 trample haste for 5. Because we have a bunch of high power creatures as well, we've got some Sarkhan unsealings here to deal damage to the opponent's entire board potentially, or at least a couple of different little things. And then we've got some Embercleaves at the top end to just punch people and win games that we have no business winning. So let's go ahead and jump on into some historic matches with this and see how it feels today. Cleave will especially be important. There was a lot of cat oven at the set championship this past weekend. So being able to cleave over blocking cats is good. Why is it called Mardu Torpor? That's good. For the Magic Zoomers in the audience, Torpor Orb is the original card in Magic that had Tocatli Honor Guard's effect. And Mardu is the color combination black, white, and red. Lovely. Just like we drew it up here. Panda, thanks for the 16 months. Welcome back. And Dr. Foss, thanks for the follow if you're still here. So against Phoenix, we're going to want to lead on Strict Proctor as opposed to Hushbringer, because the Phoenix deck has a lot of deal 2s in it. So Strict Proctor is more likely to survive a turn cycle here. Technically, our Strict Proctor did not die there, chat. Technically, it has survived. Yeah, Phoenix and Green-Black Food were the most popular decks of the championship by a lot. Okay, so I think we just put as much power into play as quickly as possible. So we'll drop Rotting Regisaur here, and then next turn we can go Proctor into Kroxa. We're just getting started with this deck, so we're going to be playing Magic with it for another hour to 90 minutes or so, or maybe a little more than that. But after that, we're going to be checking out some Legends of Runeterra, the League of Legends-based card game from Riot Games. And if you're someone that enjoys my content, a great way to support it is to hang out for that session, because that segment is sponsored by the Twitch Bounty Board today. Runeterra is just a pretty genuinely good game as well. We're going to be doing a non-sponsored segment for them tomorrow. I've been playing it off and on. Well, they have 3 Phoenixes, so we're probably dead. Sometimes you get high rolled, chat. Caca! I don't have a Runeterra deck picked out yet for today. I was just going to grab something aggressive off of Mobilytics, but if you have a recommendation, I'd take it. Sealing seems really slow and clunky here. I definitely want these lanterns. They had 3 Phoenixes in their bin they were going to bring back, Crunchy. I think this card can be genuinely good against other aggressive decks, Marty, for breaking board stalls. Like, we'll be in spots where our big creatures are staring at each other against some other creature decks. Yeah, I played the Miles Morales Spider-Man game on the PlayStation. It was actually the very first PlayStation game I played after I got my PS5, so we played it over a year ago at this point. It's very good. Insomniac is such an incredibly talented game studio. Actually just one of the best in the business. Guess we'll keep this at 6, bottom of Blood Crypt. Yeah, Runeterra's got a lot of good design space. And honestly, you know, talking about Magic, Alchemy, we're going to get to see some of that sweet digital design space that Runeterra has occupied since it's existed coming to Magic, which is great. There's so many sweet things you could do elegantly with digital-only cards that just aren't possible when you're tying yourself to a paper product. Yes, you'll be able to buy booster packs for Alchemy. Yes, yeah, they contain both the new digital-only cards as well as the rebalanced cards. And if you open a rebalanced card, you get the regular non-rebalanced standard legal card as well. So there's been a lot of complaining from people that don't have very capable critical thinking skills about how Alchemy is going to make the arena economy worse. But honestly, it sounds like you'll be able to use it to get standard staples too, even if you're not interested in Alchemy. Is there any reason to buy standard packs instead of Alchemy packs? Yeah, a bunch of standard cards are all going to be playable in Alchemy. And if you have the regular standard legal cards, you get the rebalanced version for free. Also, as future sets happen, you're not going to have the Alchemy packs right away each set release. Yeah, Alchemy. So the Alchemy packs are not all standard legal cards. They are only the new direct-to-digital cards and the rebalanced cards. So they're not just standard plus packs. They only have the standard cards with changes, and then also the new digital cards. And they have Vow commons? Okay. Yes, Alchemy is standard plus digital only cards with rebalances, Space Martian. Or as I like to call it, the future of Magic Arena. You want my hot take as far as it comes to Magic Arena content, chat? The types of people that are going to keep playing standard once Alchemy releases on Magic Arena, those people never stop playing Magic Online. I would be incredibly surprised if there's any number of Magic Arena content producers that stay big into standard after Alchemy drops. I would expect everyone that wanted to move to Arena to begin with for content to want to move into Alchemy. Or they need to play Standard for a tournament. Maybe. Will there even be Standard tournaments? Like, again, for people that don't remember your history, Standard has long been wildly unpopular in Paper. Like, for a long time, Standard has been unpopular as a Paper format. Like, Star City Games back in the before times when they were hosting tournaments, like, Modern and Legacy were way more popular. Isn't it possible for Standard to be more fun than Alchemy? Maybe. It's far less likely to be balanced. Like, and you want to talk about the current, this past weekend or 2 weekends ago, Nerd Rage Gaming had a paper Magic tournament that was 3 formats, chat. And Standard wasn't one of those formats. That wasn't an accident. They knew that making one of the formats in their team tournament Standard would have been wildly unpopular. Their tournament was sealed Modern and Legacy. So, here is a conclusion that I feel is reasonable based on what we have seen so far. Chat, Wizards of the Coast has a ton of people that work for them that are incredibly talented game designers. And as is the case with most issues in game companies, I would bet a significant amount of money the reason we don't see regular bans and balancings in Standard and Modern is that there are managers at Wizards of the Coast that hamstring the game designers with fear of if they rebalance stuff, it will impact their secondary market sales negatively. And I would bet the people, remember, Wizards isn't just balancing a game, chat. Wizards is balancing loot boxes when they're dealing with paper components. Everything paper isn't just game design, it's loot box design too. So every decision they have to make has to also serve to maximize profits within their loot box system. I know at this point a lot of people that work at Wizards and do game design on Magic, and many of them are very talented individuals, and I would be stunned if the state of Magic balance is because they don't know what they're doing as opposed to, you know, they're not allowed to do what needs to be done. I think I'm gonna use this as a gain 5 here. That's a Demi-Lich. It's a cheeky one in the Phoenix deck. This is a card that's about to get a buff, by the way. This is going to get a 4th point of toughness here soon. The devil remains to be seen in the details, obviously, but for those of you that have not read the article, our balancing philosophy for Alchemy, I would heavily encourage you to take 5 minutes and go read. No, I don't even think it's that, LD. Like, I don't even think it's incompetence so much as it's just mismanagement. It's on Daily MTG, dailymtg.com. It's one of the front articles. Maybe you might have to click back into older if they put more articles out today, but they talk about how They want to regularly have updates. So the big question is, how often does regularly mean? That's a detail that will remain to be seen. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really keep up on spoilers until everything's posted, Rayroon. Yes, yeah, if they balance it like they balanced Historic for so long, like our Pioneer, that would be great. Man, I think we're dead shit. This puts me to 6 if I take it. I'm only attacking for 13 next turn. The problem is if I don't make this trade here, these kill me in the air next turn. I think I have to make this trade, unfortunately. Okay. Okay. This was a great draw. Sideboard cards. Confirmed good against the graveyard deck, champ. Historic truly is a real non-rotating format. Nice stick. Get out of here. Yes, that was definitely an eggs, meat, basket type situation for the opponent. Nice, Genex. Christy and I are going to get our boosters this week. We were eligible starting last week, but didn't want to get them before when we had a tournament to run. Our boys got their first doses on Thursday, which makes me feel a bit better about them being in school every day. I think I'm just playing a 4-3 here. I've heard completely mixed things, and it makes sense that it's different for everyone. DMS. I've heard people that say they had no side effects on the first two and the third one was bad. I've heard the opposite too, people that had bad first twos that didn't have anything with the third. I don't remember exactly how long Pioneer was well monitored for, but it was definitely well monitored for a good duration. 8 months was probably too long, but there was definitely like a 2 to 4 month start where they updated every like 1 to 3 weeks, and it was great. Eventually, they let it go to shit. You are correct. For a long while there, things were great. Christy and I are Team Pfizer for our for our vaccines. When society eventually devolves into a full Mad Max situation, chat, I'm told they're gonna divide us up based on which vaccines you got. So make sure that you get the same one as your significant other. You got both? You're gonna be like a Super Saiyan. So probably Ultimatum, right? Especially with Final Parting. So we'll like board in 4 copies of Duress here. Cut these unsealings. Hybrids get to go to the moon base. Pro tip, chat, if you haven't done so already, take a photograph of your vaccine card and upload it to the cloud somewhere. I haven't lost mine yet, but in the event that I do, I have a digital backup. Yeah, sure, but even if your card's in your wallet, you should still take a picture of it. As someone who has periodically put his wallet through the washing machine, you should still safeguard things that are in it. Tofu is my name. Thanks for the 5 months. Welcome back. Ain't that the truth, Bob? Laminated. Well, like with boosters and stuff, you need to get them updated occasionally, Pelly. So laminated. Laminated is like fine if like it was never gonna get touched again. Is this hand sucks keep? If we draw one of our 10 things, this is good. I guess we'll keep, like, if we draw one of our 10 2-drops, the hand's, like, absurd, right? Hand's perfect, chat. Anybody that wanted the mulligan was a crazy non-believer. And shall be forever shunned from our spaces. I'm gonna be greedy and take the Explore here, since we have the second Duress to take the Ultimatum later. I'm just gonna slow them down. You can't afford to have fear in your dojo, Dwight. Don't let it in. Chat, I'm afraid of a removal spell here. What did they shock for? If I play this Acererak, are they gonna kill my Hushbringer in response? They could just be cycling the land. Yeah, I think you're right. I ain't scared. I ain't scared, chat. Oh, yeah. When the red wub 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 is beneficial. You can look up your medical records at any time in Wisconsin to see your vaccination status. Chat, I have no idea what HIPAA is, but that sounds like a violation of it. Not my hippo rights sounds like communism. It is a hippo violation for sure. Ooh, are we gonna see them go land, copy their card that draws a card? Chat, you see these guns? I can show them on Twitch because I have a right to bear arms because I am an American. You cannot take those away from me. Liar, those are human arms. Magical Caracal. Thank you for the 33 months. Welcome back. Chat, my body is ready for Aldrin's Epiphany to be nerfed, okay? Pretty sure to wear a tank top, you need to have a concealed carry permit.
My prowess is unmatched. I have just the trick for this.
I don't really need to draw extra cards in my deck, so we're just gonna put Narset to 1 and put the extra damage on my opponent here. Stalinsky, thanks for the 15 months. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. I'm gonna be honest, chat. When we built this deck, I didn't realize Acererak made zombies when we attacked. I just thought this was a 5/5. Make some friends. Dear combo opponent, please concede. Man, chat, I just realized the season reset 5 days ago at this point, 6 days ago, and these are our first ranked matches we've played since the season reset. We've just been like mono historic brawl since the end of November. Because, well, gestures vaguely at the state of standard. The historic ladder is largely fine. If the historic ladder looked like the metagame from the set championship, I don't think I would enjoy it, but there's not that much cat of it on the ladder because it's so tedious to click through, people just don't play it. Yeah, our deck actually seems very reasonably competitive. Fat beat stick's pretty reasonable. Say 11 months, Beefy Trivoli, welcome back. Yeah, I'm gonna mulligan this. Both of these early can be awkward in a number of matchups. Perfect. The Sarkhan's unsealings have not seemed particularly good. Are you married to the unsealings, Crunchy, or would I be allowed to cut those? How attached are we to the unsealings? The Hushbringer Fat Things package seems pretty good. Sarkhan's unsealing seems like kind of mediocre and unnecessary. Yeah, I feel like Embercleave probably just does... Embercleave probably just does what unsealing does, but a little bit better in terms of punching over the top. Yeah, just like four other big boys, or like maybe 3 other big boys and like an extra cleave. Or we only have 3 cleaves and 3 Clackbridge. We could like play 4 of each of those. Man, this thing getting to 3/3 on turn 2 is a rough beat. Wanted to step on it, unable to now. It's a second Phoenix in the bin already? Yikes. They have land, treasure maker, other spell. They could flip us the bird this turn. Do you think all of these magic cards that flip birds at your opponent is like subliminal messaging from Wizards of the Coast to the player base? It does say scry 0 top, 0 bottom, because this was a surveil, so they technically didn't scry. Technically, chat, the client could say scry 0 top and 0 bottom whenever it wants, and it would still be technically correct. I will say, I think the best response I saw that was critical of rebalancing as it applies to the new set was I saw someone post the take that based on the rebalances that have been posted, apparently Wizards doesn't understand that iteration is actually one of the most busted things about what's going on in these formats. And that's definitely one piece of criticism I strongly agree with. It was weird to me looking at the list of rebalances and see this card completely escape it. Iteration is just so powerful. It's such a strong effect for its mana cost. Would you make iteration cost 1 more? I mean, that's the easy fix, right? Yeah, they didn't touch expressive iteration with Alchemy. Sure, correct. But this is, and again, this is not a one and done type thing, right? Yeah, you could also make it see only 2 cards and just not put it on the bottom of your deck. You leave the mana cost, have it look at 2 cards, 1 to hand, 1 to exile. Ooh, you could make it so it can't exile land cards. That would be another great way to balance it. You could, and you just make it say you may cast that card from exile instead of play that card from exile. Yeah, you just make it so if they get a land, yeah, exactly. That's the change I like, I think. Leave it as is and just make it so you can't play it on 2 lands and really get card advantage. And like, again, this discussion here really shows just how much infinite space there is with balancing in card games, chat. There are so many little knobs you can turn and twist to make things playable and not busted, when it's not just a binary, is this card legal or it's not. The shitty mouth breathers who are like, well, maybe they should just make the cards balanced from the start. They just like have no idea what they're talking about. It's just like, game design is hard, chat, and there's so many variables. It's just impossible to predict everything in advance. Good game design is about iteration, yeah. Magic designers are held to a higher standard, Era does, because a lot of the people that are trying to hold them to that higher standard haven't actually played other games. They're boomers who have never touched a fully digital product. And they're just desperately clinging to the past, as boomers typically do. And you know, honestly, people talk about one of the somewhat valid criticisms are people who are upset that historic cards could be nerfed because of playability in Alchemy. And what I have to say to that is, do you have any idea how many cards aren't playable in Standard because they had to be nerfed for Limited during playtesting? A lot is the answer. Magic has always been a game that has its balancing largely impacted by the fact that it has to account for multiple formats. The key difference between these being that when something gets nerfed for Limited, you just didn't know about it, chap, because you didn't see the original iteration of it. Yes, Limited is largely the reason that you see so many cards pushed to rares and mythic. Limited Magic makes constructed Magic more expensive, is the plain truth. You wish we got a limited Alchemy format. Could not disagree more. In fact, one of the things that makes me excited about Alchemy rebalances is the fact that Alchemy rebalances won't be held hostage by a limited format. Chat, the Alchemy cards are rares and mythics because they're a petty cash grab. There's that reason too. Something is capable of being two things, chat. It can be a petty cash grab and also be because of limited too. If nerfs are done correctly, if Wizards nerfs cards appropriately, it won't be a big deal that they're not giving you wild cards. It isn't like a big, and honestly, like, the biggest way to talk about the wild card thing that people are hung up on, chat, when they gave us all 4 Mythic wild cards when they banned Winota, I still had this giant pile of worthless trash, right? Like, getting 4 Mythic wild cards didn't change the fact that you crafted Angrath Marauders and Legion War Bosses and Fauna Shamans for your Winota deck that were now useless. Like, yeah, they gave you something, but it didn't replace the deck that you had banned out from under you. Whereas if you look at it differently and say, oh, well, if they had made Winota cost 5 mana or made Winota only look at 4 cards, I wouldn't need anything because I still have a playable Magic deck. People don't think, they feel. Correct. That is an accurate summary of human beings. No, I think having all the and this is the other thing, a bunch of the people who are like, well, why don't we have different versions of cards for Alchemy and not Alchemy, or for Historic and Standard, or for Historic and Alchemy? These were the same fucking people that a month ago were saying, you can't rebalance cards, Jeff. It's confusing if there's 2 cards with with the same name that do different things. So it's like, which is it? Can you pick a lane? Like, can we not rebalance cards because it's confusing? Or do you want multiple versions of the same shit so that way Historic and Alchemy are different? Because those 2 things aren't logically consistent. They don't mesh well. You can't have it both ways. I've blocked triple digits worth of people on Twitter in the last week. And which, for a comparison's sake, I probably block like 1 to 5 people a day usually. Usually there's like a small handful of idiots in my mentions. So it's been a little higher than usual. Is anyone really upset over Alchemy? You know what, Ewok? If you haven't seen anyone upset about it, you're doing a great fucking job with however you experience the internet, and don't change it. Just don't change. You're doing a perfect job. Do not change any of your internet browsing habits if you've not seen anybody that's upset. Hats off to you and whatever you look at it or however you curate your feeds. You're probably happier than most of us. Man, this hand is awesome. We've got some graveyard hate. We've got our combo. We've got this in case they kill our Hushbringer. Yeah, I agree, Dark Confidant. Exactly that. Yeah, Saffron's like a decent, reasonable human being for the most part, Beansy. It always makes me chuckle. If you are a blessed, normal human being who doesn't have any sort of following on social media, I don't think you can ever fully comprehend what it's like to have tons of faceless people that you will never meet hiding behind pseudonames and avatars, sending shitty things your way and disparaging you as a person and all this other stuff. And like, essentially every reasonable sized creator tends to shut shit down pretty quickly when they see people like that doing things in their spaces towards other creators, because they know what it's like to have their mental impacted by shitty people on the internet. Because try as you might, it's a very human response to read 10 positive comments and 1 negative comment and hyper focus and fixate on that 1 negative comment. Thanks for the follow, the only chump. I personally struggled with that for a very long time, and after talking to a therapist about things and other human beings and readjusting how I approach social media and things like that, I've gotten to a relatively decent spot with it all personally. And part of that being at a decent spot is aggressive moderation of my spaces. I think it's very, the way parasocial relationships work that are kind of one-sided, it's also very easy for a lot of people to forget that, like, streamers are human beings, right? Like, I'm not a character on a TV show. You're not tweeting at, you know, Spider-Man, or I only watch superhero shows, chat, so you're gonna get superhero references here, but you're tweeting at someone that, like, actually exists. Man, this lantern's about to be real good, huh? So, we're gonna step on Dragon Rage Chandler first here, and then exile their graveyard. This is one of their better cards they could have left over here. Us continuing to miss land drops means that we could die to this before we get going, since this counts cards in exile here too. But Spider-Man was on your stream, to be fair. That is true. That is true. Spider-Man has graced Toglandia before. I think we're going to unfortunately lose this race because we were stuck on 2 lands for so long. There's a good chance this Drake Lake kills us in 2. Yeah, I could like draw a flying blocker. We actually don't have any removal spells for this. Recommendations for a Brawl deck. What are you looking like? Brawl's not a competitive format, so like what types of play patterns are you looking for is the question to answer that. All right, I'm gonna cut these Sarkhan's Unsealings because the way the format is, they're just a little bit too clunky and awkward. Our Torpor orbs don't help this. It's a nightmare. Yeah, this could be okay. It's good. This could be okay. Hey, Pokemon Nerd. Thank you for the 45 months and the very generous tier 3. Welcome back. I think I want a 4th Soul Guide Lantern for the Phoenix matchup. Hey, Frank, thanks for the sub-gifty. Good morning. We have 15 black. That's probably fine. It's like 1 low, but it's mostly fine. We could play like Chandra Torch of Defiance in the board. She kills drakes and then also is decent against control. Okay. This could be our first turn 3 Kroxa on the play. They don't have a way to kill these. I really want to queue into the squirrel deck. With our pile of Hushbringers. My family get Hallmark Christmas movie fever. I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing. We did watch, what was it? We watched a movie called The Christmas Chronicles on Netflix last night. That was very cute. Christy and I watched that with the kids. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know actors' names, but it was a Netflix original. Yeah, if they don't have a way to kill either of our creatures, Cleave's about to cut them down. All right, shit. The cleaving shall continue until morale improves. Cleave ho! It's been a hot second since we've murdered someone with this card. It's a good clean live in. They could have like a K command next turn to like shatter this for an Abrade. Even if they had it right, I'd still have a 5/5, which is pretty good. Okay, so Soul Guide Lantern probably plays here. Chandra sounds good too. They're going to be a little bit grindy or potentially have tokens. Regisaur sounds a little bit less good. I want to discard my hand to that. I'm going to trim a Cleave here. I don't think I want to draw multiple. Trim a Strict Proctor. Apparently, I forgot to tag Discord when I went live this morning. I really need to figure out how to set up a Discord bot to automate my group tags when I change games in there. I should put in a feature request with Twitch for the option to send out a notification when you change game category. I would basically just need to be able to pull the Twitch API for my game category periodically, Pelly, and then tag the group in that channel when it sees me change from one to another or go from not streaming to streaming. Is the TLDR of what it would need to do. I forgot you've done Discord bot stuff before. I'm not sure how the Twitch API looks though. Sweet. Yeah, that would be awesome if you find time to do it at some point. Nice. Good stuff. Just played the wrong land there. So we'll play Acererak, assuming no discard spell, we'll play Acererak on 3, and that leaves us the ability to like Tocatli Kroxa on 4. That's unfortunate. So hoping to draw a Soul Guide Lantern here, so we can go Soul Guide to Tocatli and not have it die to this Fatal Push flashback. I guess we just do this. It ain't great, but 3-mana venture into the dungeon is our play. It's not a good one, but it's the one that we have. Ever just wake up and think, nah, not today, fam. Yup. Haley woke up in the middle of the night last night and just like refused to go back to sleep. So I like tried to let her sleep in the bed with me, and like she just like tosses and turns and flops all around. I don't know how she sleeps on a normal night. It just like was all over the place and kept like waking me up. Now, Arcanist can flashback Fatal Push on the Kroxa, but then we get to get Acererak down next turn potentially, which would be good. Swarm is hungry, chat. Oh. Sure. Interesting. We had time lapse of our kid when she was 18 months old, and she did 8 complete rotations head to foot over the course of a single night. Wow. Archmage, thanks for the 12 months. Yeah, the new not quite Coco human seems real sweet. I like the idea of a lower variance collecting company. Their hand could just be as awful as ours here, chat. Maybe, hopefully. Well, the Lich cost 3, so they couldn't push the Lich. Well, they could push the Lich, it just wouldn't do anything. Apparently their hand was also all lands, chat. You know what? We take those. These are things that we take. They used Fable Passage? Oh, did they? Maybe you're right. I wasn't paying attention to it. Apparently they weren't either. I think I keep this and just hope to spike a white. Because even casting this without this isn't that big of a deal. Like these 4 cards plus 2 lands are a good keep, I think. Morning, Alex. Happy Monday. Yeah, that too, Archmage. People keep talking about the aspirant nerf while completely ignoring the context of white getting a number of other new playable cards, it looks like. I'll step on their face here in response. Real Honeywell, thank you for the 21 months. Welcome back. Like something Grix is controlling here. Yeah, I agree, Steam Vlogger. It's awesome to see some of the most talented game design people in the world finally get to work inside of the game design space that other companies have enjoyed working in for so long. Because there's so many talented people that work at Wizards of the Coast, but they just they just don't have access to the same tools that other companies do because their game was primarily a boomer card game up until now. And getting to change that is huge for them. Duress, Chandra in, this out because it's not great against removal. And then trim around the edges here, I think sounds good. I was listening to you talk about blocking people on Twitter, and I think the shield of anonymity lets people think they can be toxic and mean without consequences, and it's gross. Yes, something that I truly believe, and this isn't anything revolutionary, other people have said this before too, is that who someone is when no one is watching is really who they are. And the way people act terribly when they have anonymity to hide behind, that's who they really are as a person. And who they are when they're showing their face, that's just who they think society expects them to be. People who are shitty when they're anonymous are just actually just truly shitty people. Mutbu, thanks for the follow. And for reference, I don't think, everybody who's behind an anonymous name is a bad person. There's plenty of people in this chat, for example, that have pseudo names that are decent, reasonable people. If you're decent and reasonable when there's no benefits for being decent and reasonable, that's who you really are. And when you're awful, when there's no repercussions for being awful, that's also who you are. Thanks for the follow, Mudaboo. Thanks for the 26 months, EV Reaper. Welcome back. I took my Acererak, chat. Let's Duress into Stomp this turn. Try and get a feel for what their hand looks like. Okay, sweet. And this sequence is actually going to render their Inquisition null and void, which is great. Ha! Proctor actually neuters their Bolas, which is great. What an intense and interesting game of Magic the Gathering. One thing that I hope we see happen is more digital designs that help reduce variance in Magic. Like, for my Hex TCG fans, rip Hex, I really hope we get a Fate Weave-esque digital mechanic for Magic. And for people who didn't play that now defunct card game, it had a lot of similarities to Magic where you had resources in your deck, and Fate Weave was like a super scry where you would choose land or non-land, and then it would put that type of card on top of your deck. So it would just be incredible amounts of variance mitigations. You're like, all right, I don't need a land here, I want a spell. Boom, we scry into a guaranteed spell, or boom, we scry into a guaranteed land. Thanks for the 33 months, Scholar, and thanks for the deck submission. This one's been super reasonable. Seek. Seek is a variation of that in a way. Yeah, I think the design space which they've been using, Seek is kind of like a Fate Weave that puts it right into your hand. So I agree their use of the Seek keyword has been good so far. I did see the on the draw land, which is good. That's other design space I hope they push into more. Honestly, cards that are better when you're on the draw is the design space I hope we see on paper cards more too. Magic desperately needs to balance its game better for when you're on the draw. I must say, I think that's the thing I missed most from not playing Runeterra, is Runeterra's play draw balance is better than any other card game I've ever touched. It's so well done, and I think Magic could easily be exploring more designs that let them balance their play draw better. All right, so do I want them to give them the option to take my Clackbridge Troll but also take 2 damage? I think the answer is yes, so I'm going to take this Inquisition. What happened to Hex? Hex got hamstrung by a number of lawsuits from Wizards of the Coast. And then they were also a small indie project, so when you combine those two things, they just had too much pressure on them and they couldn't survive. Is that a function of everybody always drawing and playing every turn? Yeah, the simultaneous turns is part of why Runeterra is balanced. Play draw really well, but also their card designs help with that too. Yes, Runeterra has better play draw balance than chess does. No joke. Yes, something that is abundantly true under capitalism, chat, is if you can't innovate, you litigate. Larger companies frequently file lawsuits they know they can't win against smaller companies in the same space, knowing that they can bury the smaller company under legal fees, causing them to fail. Late stage capitalism is fucked in more ways than just, you know, being terrible to workers. All right, them missing a land drop here as well is also decent for us. All right, time to get our 3 mana enter the dungeon on. Scry for lands, perfect. Four cards in the bin. I think we just Chandra here.
When people start screaming,
Chess is a 55% to 45% play draw balance. Yeah, Runeterra posted a stat at some point that like over 1 million games, their play draw balance was within like 0.5% of each other. Which is just like, it's a super impressive metric. Like just actually insane. Which, speaking of, if you want an easy way to support my content, you want to check out Runeterra and you haven't before, we're going to play 1 or 2 more matches with this sweet Mardu deck. Then we're going to shift over to playing a little bit of Runeterra this afternoon. It's a segment that's sponsored by Twitch Bounty Board, so hanging out for that is a great way to help keep me employed. We'll talk through some of the basics of that game during our first few matches. Duress. Yeah, I'll keep this against Duress. Rebalanced alchemy cards, you have to use the new versions in Historic. Rebalanced cards are the same in every format. That's digital only. Let's kill this before they have something to modular onto. So, Hushbringer shuts off modular, because modular is a dice trigger, which is sweet. So, Tocatli Honor Guard doesn't turn off modular, but this does. This blocks this for free, but they still discard a card. Then we also have this 8/8 coming across. Yes, that's also, and that's the biggest thing about Alchemy, that I'm excited about, WinMag, is brews that are not top decks in Standard will almost assuredly be more competitive under Alchemy than they are under normal Standard, because Alchemy will be a lower power level with those top decks being brought down. It will just be a better format to brew in. I'm going to offer this to let them eat for free, because if they eat this for free, they're then not... Well, I guess they could do this, and then they could put these three in front of here, but that's still good for us. I think we attack like this. It's the 27 months, Wargy Corgi. Welcome back. Yeah, and this lets me trade Kroxa for the Smith here. To people asking, well, does this mean Wizards is moving more towards digital for all their products? Chat, Standard's never been a huge driver of paper stuff, right? It means I wouldn't be surprised if we see them move away from explicitly Standard for paper, but Standard's never been the big paper moneymaker. Casual Magic, EDH, drafting, these are a few of paper's favorite things. I do not expect them to change how they handle Standard bans, no. And I envision probably just not playing Standard myself moving forward. Which will be bad for paper players. Which paper players? Like, people don't really... Chat, paper Standard has never been popular. They're going to put the Ozolith counters on here, so they have a big lifelinker. Man, imagine if we drew spells this game, chat. Imagine the potential if we had drawn spells this game. And offer this trade, I guess. Got one card of escaping this. This was a crunchy submission. Yeah, we've made some changes at this point. Yeah, I was a little surprised they traded two. Am I dead? Not quite, but close. I think we're on the zero outer here, right, though? Not quite sure why we attacked with these. We need like one more spell in the mid game here. Heartless Act is awkward here, but I think it's probably worth still bringing in. Noxious Grasp is definitely coming in. What do I want to trim? I think this is definitely an all Doomblades on deck matchup. If I'm going to be holding a bunch of removal spells, maybe Rotting Regisaur is a little worse. Okay. Are we on the draw or the play game one? I think we're on the play. If I recall correctly, we just didn't have any spells. We like ran out of gas because we had all lands. Yeah, once all the spoilers are done and rebalanced cards are posted, I'll do a review. Probably Wednesday morning, Archmage. Does anybody know, do we have a date on when they're all supposed to be out by? Arcane is fantastic. The animation style / quality in that show is just like next level. Sojourner, thanks for the 27 months. Welcome back. Last spoilers are coming tomorrow. Sweet. Yeah, we'll probably do a review Wednesday morning then and post it to YouTube in its own video. Many of the scenes are basically mini music videos. Yeah, I mean, Riot has a history of doing good at music stuff. And honestly, like, that's one of the things, it shows that, like, Riot has a good design studio for that in Runeterra, too. Like, Runeterra's audio and visual design is just a cut above everything else in the digital card game space. It's, like, light years ahead of both Arena, Hearthstone, and anything else in the market. I really like Potion over Eject Button on the thicker characters with Megas. Snorlax, Wigglytuff, Mamoswine, I think it's fine on all of those. Using it on Sylveon. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know Sylveon's stats offhand to know if that's a good choice or not. Because Potion heals you 20% of your total life total. So if the ceiling on your life total isn't particularly high, it's not great. Alright, opponent, unfortunately for them, like DC'd or something through there. There's been a lot of like disconnects today. I wonder if people are having issues with the arena servers. That wouldn't surprise me. Hashtag quality. Yeah, I wonder if we'll see Arena play catch up and implement a single player story mode like Runeterra has. The single player Panther champions in Runeterra that's similar to Slay the Spire seems pretty popular. Your client has been crashing as well. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Well, we need to draw a removal spell or we're probably dead. Yikes. This card's impossible. This card's tough to out linear on its own, much less with the hardened scales. We are about to get buried, chat. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Yikes! I'm gonna play my 2-mana 6/6, but going on, K9? Arena had some exciting news recently itself. We're getting a fully digital format with rebalanced cards starting Thursday, K9. So in terms of Arena news, there's some sweet stuff there as well. While we got dumpstered here, this deck as a whole was very reasonable. And honestly, we didn't even run into any of what I would expect to be our best matchups, right? Like the Squirrel Life Gain deck is super popular on the ladder right now by the metrics. Like we played what 6 or 7 matches there and didn't run into it. So like our deck felt reasonably competitive, even not running into any of the decks that like were kind of designed to hose. Yeah, the Heliod deck is the what's it called? So yeah, as far as like changes at the end here, I don't think I have any. I think I like about where we ended up at. Maybe you could perhaps put a touch more interaction in the main deck. Like maybe this is better as like another piece of hard removal, or maybe a main deck Chandra to grind a little bit more. But like these 10 cards enabling Acererak, Kroxa, and Clackbridge Troll as big beaters, and then these 2 as just decent-sized beaters on their own, all rounded out with Embercleave, felt reasonably proactive in a lot of different situations. Big Mama Emmercool, thanks for the 35 months. Welcome back. All right, we are switching over to some Legends of Runeterra for a little bit. This is the League of Legends based card game on the from Riot Games. This segment is sponsored by the Twitch Bounty Board. This Dragons deck, just to highlight some of the great things about the Runeterra client, this Dragons deck, I actually used my web browser because this application has a full API in it. There's this website called Mobilytics, and I clicked this little button here, push to client, and then it just appeared in my Runeterra client, which is excellent. Love me a piece of quality software. Let's craft these couple of cards that I'm missing here really quick. Just missing those. All right, let's dive on into some games with some Dargans, chat. Showcase some Runeterra gameplay. Let's put some cosmetics on here real quick, though. Let's put our KDA board on. Let's pick a dragon for our pet. We got some fancy sticker emoticons. Let's play, huh? And the music that you hear in Runeterra is dictated by the game board that you're playing on. So the KDA board actually plays KDA pop music. Which we might have to turn the sound up a little bit so we can jam here. So, in Runeterra, both players are playing the game simultaneously at all points. The thing that differentiates their turn versus my turn is who gets to attack. So I have the attack token here first. First time you slay a unit with a spell, grant me 2/1. Okay, my thing has elusive here, which is kind of like flying, so it can only be blocked by their elusives. Zoe hits them because they can't block, and she generates me this super cool star chart. Now, the round is going to end. When the next round starts, you'll notice the attack token flips over to my opponent's board here, but we both draw a card and gain a resource, so we're both up to 2 resources now. Now, I could play the Solari Sunhawk here as a... Oh, these are fearsome, so they can only be blocked by things with 3 power or more, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and pass here. One of the things to note in Runeterra is each player has these 3 extra mana crystals here, and these are called spell mana, and this allows you to carry mana over across turns in Runeterra, which is a really great mechanic because it mitigates what I refer to as curve variance, where if you can't play a card each turn, you don't just like spew your resources, you can bring some with you. I think so. Zoe, when she hits, if I have a star chart in hand, she makes it cheaper, or she generates another and I already have one. So I'm going to go ahead and play this star chart, which lets me pick one of 3 cards to put into my hand. Moonglow to protect Zoe actually has some appeal. So I think I'm going to grab that, and then we'll go ahead and attack here. Oh, and the KDA board has 3 different music, so we can tick this to play a different song. Now, fast and slow spells build a stack in the middle that players can respond to. So this deal 2 damage I can respond to with Sharp Sight to give Zoe +2/+2. Now they could have another spell obviously here to finish her off, but in the event that they don't, our Zoe will get to live. They shoot her for 2, she connects for 3, she gives us another star chart. My opponent has 2 mana to carry over. I have 1 mana to carry over. No blocks here. Oh. Opponent deciding if they want to start the turn by attacking here or not. Opponent tries to kill Zoe again. We'll say no thank you. Make this a 3/3. They must have drawn that for the turn, right? Because if they would have had that already, they could have played it in response to my... Or they could have played it last turn as well. Should I go ahead and pass here and see what they do? So, I'm going to go ahead and pass to my opponent here. When both players pass, the turn ends. And if the turn ends without them playing a card, I get to carry my 3 mana over, but they only carry over 3 of their 4. So if we both pass here, I gain resource efficiency. So my opponent has lost an unspent mana here because they passed the turn there. Let's start with Shyvana and see what they do. So, in Runeterra, you can attack with things the turn you play them. So there's a little bit of this balance where, do you want to play this so it can attack this turn? Or do you want to attack before they can deploy more blockers? So they are going to Piercing Darkness kill this. And if we can see here, the eye tells me what's going to happen as a result of this play. So this counts as them slaying a unit. So if I let the board resolve like this, the 2 things on their bench here are going to get their power up from a unit being slain. I think I want a single combat in response here. So that way we can kill one of those so they don't have 2 3/3s here. You can see the eye shows, okay, this is going to die, your thing's going to die, they're going to have a 3/3. Foundry. Okay, and they're responding with another card here, which will let them draw some cards here. And then even the eye even shows my opponent gaining 2 cards in hand here, which is great. So I am now going to take this window to Moonglow my Zoe, permanently giving her +2 attack, +2 defense, and spell shield, making her harder to kill. Champions in Runeterra level up to get more powerful when a certain condition is met. So this Zoe will level up when she's seen me play 10 differently named cards. And we're halfway there. Honestly, the Eye is probably one of the most innovative features in Runeterra compared to all other digital card games. The amount of valuable information it provides is just...
I fight for a brighter tomorrow.
Challenger? So Challenger means this can force my Zoe to block. So this stuns the strongest enemy unit when it comes into play. So we're gonna go ahead and do this to stun their Jace. Character many of you should be familiar with if you watched Arcane. I'm gonna take the Equinox here because it'll let me silence the extra text off of this. Arcane was excellent. Really, really enjoyed it. So we're up to 7 differently named cards played. Get to bank some spell mana here. So up to 9 total mana for this turn. Let's play Solari Sunforger out. So, Zoe levels with 2 more differently named cards played. I'm gonna go ahead and Brightsteel Protector here. She levels with 1 more differently named card played. So this Concerted Strike will level my Zoe. So, here's a huge thing in Runeterra that is so skill intensive. My opponent has passed, assuming I am going to attack, but what I get to do here now is skip my attack and just end the round, burning off an incredible amount of mana. So I get to give up my attack with this lifesteal thing, which does have some value, to basically tempo my opponent an incredible amount. And don't heckle me, Zoe. I'm teaching chat how to play Runeterra.
Hextech engaged.
So I want to strike you with you and you, which will allow my Zoe to level up and survive. And now, something Zoe does, when Zoe levels up, she basically gives us an emblem equivalent that says, when you summon an ally for the rest of the game, all your allies get that card's keywords. So even if they manage to kill Zoe here, I'm still gonna be able to give everything Fury with Shyvana. Okay, yeah, and so they, with their sequence here, oh wait, I have single combat. This is great. So, and again, what's gonna happen? Right now, their Jace is going to level up, and all 3 of my things are going to die based on the current board state. However, I get a chance to respond here, and we say, okay, single combat, these 2 fight. Now we can check the eye again, and those 3 are dying, and my Zoe is living, which is an outcome I would like. So let's put that spell on the stack and click OK. Taz B, thanks for the 2 years. I appreciate the 24 months. Welcome back.